Welcome to City Talk and City Walk. And this is your program host, Violeta Lopez Gonzaga, bidding you again a warm welcome to our show. We've been talking about healthy aging and ways to keeping your mind sharp, your body alive, even when you are past the middle age. Although World Health Organization says on their new age classification, 65 and above to 75 are still the middle age. So that qualifies me to be one of the new middle agers. But in this segment, we have what the WHO classifies as the seniors. She is one extraordinary woman whom I've known for decades, and she stands as well as one of my role models. So we'd like to welcome to our show Dr. Florangel Braid. Welcome to City Talk and City Walk, Dr. Braid. And it's a pleasure to connect with you once more.
It's a pleasure to Rolette. We've been old friends. I can't remember, but I know we met sometime before the framing of the Constitution.
Yes.
So about that time, so it would be more than 30 years ago.
Yes,
No?
yeah.
But it's been so long. But anyway, you talk about aging and about you being in a midterm.
Middle age.
Maybe we'd say Centennial. Maybe that's what I consider as I often say I'm a centennial.
Yeah.
And you probably would be in between, a bridge between the millennials and the centennials.
Yes.
So centennial.
Very interesting term. Is that your original?
No, I just heard that it is. Anyway, somebody said he's a centennial, so I said those that are not yet quite centennials should be centennial.
And who would you consider a centennial?
Oh, those maybe between 90s to 100. No.
And people do get to live that long now. It's
Yeah.
quite common.
I know.
Like our good friend and national artist,
Yes.
Frank Jose, 93.
I know.
And he's writing his
Yes.
nth model.
I know.
Oh,
Yes.
science fiction.
Yes. I just attended the wake of Billy Abueva, our noted national artist, last night at the UP, and he's 88. But he's what we'd call someone who died on his, while on
While
his
doing
toes.
something.
Doing something.
He was a sculptor. What is he? Villanueva?
88? No. Abueva.
Oh.
Billy Abueva.
Abueva.
Passed away.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, the sculpture.
The sculptor, yes.
Oh.
And he is, I would see him in his wheelchair. He's been sick for a while. And his wife, who is a doctor,
Yeah.
would, gave up her profession and wheels him to every occasion.
Event.
I know that when I was at trustee of this cultural center, he would be there all the time during the wakes of national artists, really, and also during award ceremonies because he crafted most of the trophies.
Yes.
I know.
I have two of his trophies.
Yes.
One is of course, 10 Outstanding Young Men, and the other is the Doña Aurora Aragon Quezon
Yes.
Peace Award.
Yes.
So it's so
our
good.
awards, yes.
When he visited Bacolod, I requested him to inscribe,
Yes.
to sign it.
Yes.
And he asked for a chisel. And so on those two trophies,
Yes.
I have his name chiseled.
Oh, great.
That is priceless.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I visited him. His wife was there, and I reminded him, and the wife remembered even the Titus Brunsma Foundation's Media Awards, which I chaired over the years. He did a beautiful trophy or a bust of Titus Brunsma,
Wow.
the saint, almost saint,
Yeah.
and also did all the trophies for all the awardees. So anyway, that was Billy, and I had a nice chat with his older brother, who is a very good
Nap.
friend. No, Pepe Abueva,
Pepe.
the president of UP, former president
Yes,
of UP,
and founder of.
noted historian
Yes.
and constitutionalist and so many
Was
other.
he also one of those?
No, but he authored a draft of the federal constitution, but now he has second thoughts, and that's why, like me, we both have second thoughts about federalism.
Okay. So you were one of how many women
Well, there were
drafted
6 of
the
us.
1987
There were
Constitution?
6 out of 48 members of the Constitution.
Okay.
And mostly, many of them were lawyers, legal luminaries, former justices of the Supreme Court, and businessmen, and representatives of various sectors, the farmers, fisher folk, and so on, women. And me, I represented, although that was not intentional, the sectors that I'm familiar with, education and communication, and of course areas like human rights and social justice.
Yeah. So looking back, Dr. Braid, what
Call me
would
Flor. You know,
Flor,
we've been
okay.
friends.
Yeah, we've
so-
been friends. Okay, Flor, what was the most significant experience you had while you were framing or drafting the 1987 Constitution?
Well, one is because this was right after martial law.
Yes.
And it was a return to democracy. That's, I think,
Yeah.
the outstanding feature and so sometimes we're criticized for having been too oriented to the human rights problems of the martial law, but you can't help it. You have to base it on the earth problems that.
And the background that went into I felt at the time that we were rushing the Constitution
Yes.
because we had consultation. I was one of the facilitators
Yes.
in Negros.
Yes.
And there were many issues. And of course, Cory was being urged to declare a revolutionary government, which he refused.
Yes.
So we had
Yes.
to rush the
Yes,
writing of
that's
the
right.
1987
we
Constitution.
had a little over 3 months, almost 4 months drafting, and then we spent about also another 3 weeks consulting with the various sectors
Yeah,
of society.
nationwide.
I went to Mindanao,
Yes.
to deepest to the barangays of Mindanao, and then also sometime editing the constitution. I know it's the longest constitution of the world. That's what
Really?
it's one of the longest. Maybe I don't
I
think.
never
it's
knew that.
But it has not been modified or amended. So this is
Amended.
one of the.
This is
there were many attempts
Yes,
to amend
Cha-Cha.
it. Cha-Cha. During
Under
the-
FBR.
Yes, and Gloria and
Yes.
but none, because the people were wary that what maybe could have been done would be to amend to insert provisions that would be self-serving. No?
Yes.
Like, for example, extending the terms of the.
Yeah.
This was
The fear.
This was the feeling, but now the train has moved on. I mean, in other words, there are attempts to derail the train,
Yeah.
but it is moving so fast.
Yeah.
It's even faster. than the
Dizzying,
last-
dizzying
Yes.
speed.
Dizzying speed, yes. So here we are, and I've been interviewed, and I've been also at hearings, and
This is Senate hearings.
yes,
Okay.
and most of us, there are only 14 living members out of the 48.
Really? Out of the 48?
Yes, but out of these 14, about 2 are not very well. No, they are like Father Bernas is not too well
I'm
now.
wondering if he's still alive
Yeah,
because
he's
he's been
still alive,
quiet.
but he's not able to move so much. But all of there are about only 12 out of the 14 who are able to move around.
Still
And
willing to
yes,
fight.
and we have been meeting, and most of us are not in favor of charter change. In other words,
Okay.
anti-chacha.
This is led by, of course, former Chief Justice Davide.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
at the helm.
Yes. The famous, it's a leap, federalism is a leap to hell. And well, there are many reasons, of course, why it's not because we don't want a constitution we drafted touch. No, that's the usual explanation they give.
You're
but
just
it's
being
not.
sentimental.
No,
and,
no. There are many. One is. Let me just go over some of the reasons. This is not the right constitutional moment.
Yes.
I may be in favor of, because I'm not that. I think we are very forward-looking, and there are some provisions that may need amendment.
Yes.
But this is not the right time.
Yes.
And I think many viewing public would understand why not. You
Yes.
know?
Okay, so briefly, why is it not the right time?
Well, there is a lack of trust in the present administration. They don't trust Congress. Many people don't trust Congress. And as you know, although we have a consultative commission
Yes.
of 19 people, they are there to only be the consultants.
Yeah.
They will prepare the initial draft and give it to the Congress, and the Congress will be the final arbiter.
Yeah.
So we don't know what will happen to what we trust. I know many of the members, and I do
This is
trust
the
them.
newly formed commission.
Yes, headed by former Chief Justice Puno.
Yes.
And we trust many of them. They are very competent, people of honesty, integrity, but we don't know whether their draft would be honored by the
Precisely.
Congress.
So it's a question of
Yes,
trust.
And if there were, all of us said that if we have to have charter change, it has to be via constitutional convention.
Yes.
Which means elected delegates. But we realize also the expense, and maybe it's not the right time because we're suffering from budgetary problems, and there are many other priorities. And also, since I talk about priorities,
Yes.
what we should do really, there are many priorities crying out for reforms. The poverty,
Yes.
the problem of distrust. We're fragmented, and so we need to be unified. And why? Because of problems like political dynasty.
Yeah.
And
Which has
oligarchy.
never been addressed.
Yes, and where power and privilege is located in the hands of only a few
Precisely.
families.
Yeah.
So we did try to address that, but there was a lot of discussion. And as you know, we left it to Congress to craft the enabling law.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of our
Mistakes,
shortcomings.
yeah.
In fact, there are 150 provisions where we left it to Congress to craft the enabling law.
Yes.
Primarily because we did not have enough time
Yes.
to craft the Constitution. Secondly, there were some division or varying viewpoints on some of them. And so we thought that the Congress, we left it to Congress because we trusted Congress. But
We thought we did away with the trapos.
Yes.
Traditional politicians,
That-
only
that's
to wake
true.
up with the nightmare that they are back
that's true.
with a vengeance.
When the time of crafting was a time of euphoria.
Yes.
We were, we felt that here is a woman we trusted, and we trust, the president who appointed us. And we thought too that the incoming Congress would also be people we could trust. But the rest of the story. We were frustrated and dissatisfied. And so let me start with also some of I think you want to know why. Yeah, started with why we don't want a change now, no?
Why it is not the right
the
time.
right time, no? Yes, the priorities must be addressed first, no? In social weather surveys and other surveys pointed out at least 10 problems on the national scene, and which have not been addressed. They've been there, and they should really demand priority before we chart that. We move on to change a constitution. Then there's also we also, in addition to the lack of trust, I think that let me continue with the lack of trust, no? That the people who we have talked with felt that there may be a Trojan horse, no? That change to federalism or charter change is one way by which they can enact certain self-serving laws and provisions.
Yes.
No?
And what are this?
Well, extension of
is
terms. No, I think
So you have all these congressmen now and senators being in office for another 10, 20 years.
yes. So there may be hidden motivations. How can the people do not understand all these
Yes.
difficulties, divergences, and to give you an idea, the Constitution is now 31 years old,
Okay.
and it is taught in the schools.
Yes.
And yet, the last survey showed that only 27% understood the Constitution.
Oh my goodness.
How can you have a charter change and
Yeah.
allow people to change something they don't even understand, and to move into something they don't understand. So these are the problems that we are confronted with. Federalism, we move to another territory. It is, we have enacted the local government code.
Yeah.
And examining the local government code, we feel that it has not been implemented.
And under the new local government code, actually the barangay, the basic political unit, has been empowered.
Yes. What we can do is improve on that,
Yes.
give them more powers. Maybe it is quite true that most of the resources are centralized in what they call Imperial Manila, but this can be rectified. All that I have to do is, of course, the era, turn it around, where it was more for the Manila central government, turn it around to
20%.
Yes.
Each barangay
yes,
receives 20% of the internal
resources.
revenue allotment.
80. So do it the other way around, they
Yeah.
get 80, no? So that there are many ways of changing without having to move on to federalism.
We're not really against federalism per se. I studied in Canada. It's a federal form of government, but then you have strong civil society. You have very strong counter forces to potential authoritarianism or
Yes.
autocratic form
Yes.
of governance.
Yes, there are advantages, but you shift to federalism if you have a population where the gaps between the poor and the rich
Yes.
are not too wide,
Like now Duterte was saying, oh, we can go for Hong Kong
No.
form of federal government, but in
No.
Hong Kong,
No,
we
there-
don't have that, as you said.
Yeah, high
Marked
literacy,
differences.
yes, high functional literacy, and more awareness of governance, a more informed society, in other words. But and also for the gaps between those who have and those who do not have, are not too wide,
And my fear there is you have provinces like Romblon, Masbate, where there is no virtual civil society.
Sure.
in place, NGOs and civic organizations. So you end up with tyrants
Yes.
like Parahinog in Osamis. Then you have narco politics, narco governance.
And out of the 11 regions that would have to be federalized, only 3 are ready. So it's
Yeah.
the question of readiness.
Yes.
Only 3. And in some of the recommendations are, I think this is in the Bangsamoro.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think that that would be for what they call twinning,
Yeah.
where the richer regions could help
Yeah.
but that is ideal, that is who would share, no? I mean, we know our
When you have
society.
many typhoons
Yes.
hitting.
So we do not have that. We're not ready in terms of economic. We're not ready in terms of political. We do not have adequately trained leaders.
Yeah.
One of the essentials of federalism is to have a strong local leadership. No?
Yes.
So we are not, our local leaders are not trained. You know that. And if we complain about political dynasties at the center, it's even more so
Yeah.
in the regions, no?
Yeah, yeah.
So these are the
Marcoses and the
and not to mention the cost of
yes.
shifting.
Yes.
The costs are enormous.
That would be in the trillion
Yes,
pesos.
you would have to have triple the number of bureaucrats
Yeah.
working, because you create more
Yes.
what you'd call duplicates of the center.
Yes, yes.
And when you do that, you have to create a bloated bureaucracy. So that's what we would be having, no?
You mentioned the Bangsa Basic Moral Law, and you were in fact summoned by the Senate to testify.
Yeah, yes.
So essentially, what are we looking at here? Will it be implemented soonest, or will it be deferred? Or how does it stand in relation to the moves to change the Constitution?
Well, the president, if his wishes were to be followed, wants the BBL approved before charter change.
Wow.
So they want that. They're rushing it too,
Yeah.
no? And at the last hearing, some of the commissioners of the transition committee, the committee that drafted the final
BBL,
draft,
yeah, basic.
Bangsamoro Transition
Yes.
Committee, said that, well, they are quite ready, but then there are many problems. One problem raised was political dynasties.
Yeah.
We have, as you know, the clans,
Tamanos,
yes,
Rasul.
yes, so many, yes,
Yeah.
and so, but what was recommended by one or two was what they call a hybrid sort of political dynasty provision. What they meant by hybrid is to have, because we agreed on the premise not all political dynasties are bad. You know,
Yeah.
I think we all agreed to that.
Yes.
But so that maybe while we do not eliminate political dynasties right away, we could have a combination of what you call political parties.
Yeah.
Some of the better political parties can be twinned with political dynasties, and that would be how you would draft the anti-dynasty law.
The problem is that we don't have real political parties.
That's
because
right.
There's no ideology.
That's right.
There's no enculturation to a particular paradigm.
That's right. That's another no-no for federalism, because when you shift to federalism, you'll have to shift to parliamentary government,
Yes.
and an element of parliamentarism is a strong
Yes.
political, political party.
Yes.
And we have political parties which are, some of them are alike, some of them are
No real distinction.
no.
So you have political butterflies.
Yes, that's what we have. I was going to say that political butterflies, and no. So you could see that there are many things against federalism, and so here we are. We are caught at a time where things are moving.
Too
They want
fast.
to shift to. I can hardly keep up with with what's going on with the times.
Yeah.
So I think we need to pause and reflect and postpone.
Yeah.
Not we're not against charter change, but we don't need charter change or federalism now. I said in the Senate hearing, maybe 5 years. Justice Davide said 10, but I said because of new technology, we may be able to move fast
Social
towards
media.
public consultations so that we could get the people participate more. Any change involves people participation. It cannot
Yes.
be come from the
And
top.
that's in the Constitution, the spirit of the
Yes.
Constitution.
It's participatory democracy.
Participatory democracy, right?
Yes. So these are the issues now, and we hope. Right now, we're not giving up in terms of that the Congress, because it's in their hands, would think twice about shifting to federalism, and shifting again or charter change. But I think it's moving, and maybe this is probably maybe charter change would have to move on because they have a constitutional consultative committee and they're bent on changing certain provisions. But if they do, maybe they could just select. My fears, Bullet, is that once they open it up,
Yes.
there may be no stopping them
end.
from, for example, social justice is the heart of the Constitution. And we have one of the best social justice provisions in the world. Former Chief Justice Puno, who studied social justice Constitution, came out with a thick volume where he said that there are only 3 constitutions in the world that have progressive provisions and what he calls substantive provisions. And he said it's South Africa, Canada, and the Philippines. But unfortunately, we have substantive provisions in our social justice. It can be improved, but at least it's better than the U.S. Constitution in the sense that it is not just procedural. He calls the U.S. Constitution provisions on social justice procedural. They give it, they give everybody, the right to start at the starting line. But you don't give somebody who doesn't have adequate early training the same conditions as one who's been trained in Ateneo and the better schools. No? So you have to give everybody an equal chance by giving them more, opportunities to compete in the starting line.
Okay, quick updates.
Oh.
Where is Basic Bangsamoro law now, and are we going to see its rushed implementation in 2-3 months' time? The president was saying something about May.
Yes, that's their timeline as far as I know now.
It's
So
frightening.
they're working hard. The transition committee is working together with Congress. When they analyze the allocations, they're huge. There's even what they call block budgets, in addition
like
to the
billions
other.
of pesos.
Yes, so they have to rationalize that and other provisions. And as some people say, I think you also wanted to see how the Lumads and other indigenous communities can participate more.
Precisely.
There is a provision on that, but it has to be maybe more defined. And some are still asking about how about Sabah, no?
Yeah.
They've been silent on it, but there is a clamor for, they say that would be the next step, no?
Yeah.
As you know, we have not given up on Sabah.
Yes.
And the Constitution said, this time we will not rock the boat and but this is because this is not the moment. This is not the political moment.
Yeah.
But we are not giving up, no.
Yeah.
So we still have to. At some point in time, we'll have to revisit and so many other things. Now, I can understand why the president wants to rush it because he would like. We said that if they have to rush it, let it be a template for federalism. Let it be a model that they can see where some of the issues of
Like a pilot.
a pilot,
Yeah.
let it be a pilot, no?
You are still very active at the Asian Institute of Journalism and Communication. You are still with the peace process. And how do you manage this all? You are one template, you used the word earlier, of healthy aging. So what is the secret for Flora?
Well, if I'd quote my husband, he would say, I'd do anything. Somebody says, do you exercise? No. No. Do you diet? No. No. But seriously speaking, yes, moderately. Even my doctor said, at your age, you don't have to worry about what you should eat, as long as you eat in moderation. No? But one thing is, I think to have periods of silence and meditation. I am a believer that one has to have time, devote time during the day to be alone, to reflect, to look inward and upward. That's what I always say. When you're confused, you turn to yourself. I think one of probably, I have disciplined myself to communicate with myself. I'm a communicator. So I said before I can communicate interpersonally or with a group, I have to be able to understand myself. And so that's one of the maybe secrets of my longevity. It is giving yourself, I recommend that we, our government and our society would would actually build parks where people can be together with their own with themselves and with others, where they can communicate, our society, the world around it's too noisy.
Yeah.
We're afraid of silence, I think that's one of the reasons. So if we have to be a society which protects senior citizens and also the young, who should be protected against all the noise, all kinds of noises, technological noise, physical noise. We have to build our cities more. We
need the restructuring
of our towns and cities. Yes.
Make walkways. You don't need to even have sidewalks.
Yes. So that people can use their bicycles.
Yes.
And
Bicycle
can roam
lanes,
around, and
walk in safety.
Yes. To commune, and to again here it brings. We are environmentalists, you and I, so we know the importance of the rights of nature. So that is one thing, to live in a. I am in the process of moving now, where, and I was given the choice. I have the choice of moving into a condo. But I had lived in a condo before, and finally I decided that I'll move to my house in Tagaytay, where there's open space, and where you can look at the west and see suns, beautiful, some of the most beautiful sunsets and some of the most beautiful sunrises.
Yeah. Wow,
and
you're blessed.
there's a place where you can move up and you think heaven is just a few feet away.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the secret of longevity, where
Where is God in all this? I
Yeah.
remember when you ran for the Senate that you were excited about sharing your encounter
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
summing up your life. Where is God in all this
Yes, yes. You know,
very
yes.
rich
Yeah,
experience?
you know, I've contributed to a book edited by Flor Tariella, Miracles. No, I think I have had two or three stories, and my husband also shared one or two stories about our lives. Because our lives have been sort of miraculous in a way.
Yes.
I've survived accidents and so forth. I won't go into details, but what I know is that part what the knowledge that I discovered, the little whatever, new ideas, do not come from myself. They emerge after reflection, and then I always have that feeling
Yes.
that that it is communication, talking with God that has helped me discover
Conversing with
this
God.
conversation, real personal conversation with God that has helped me. So I get very close in terms of encounter with people who share the same feeling of what we'd call close encounters, or
God.
what you'll call the soul speaking. That's why I say, and because I've felt it in everything I've done. So that's probably when you have to you lose yourself. Don't take yourself seriously. It's like lose,
Yeah.
and just give. Don't struggle too much. Live yourself, and God will find a way. This is what I can. So I have closed, and after this interview, I'd like to share with you that Bollet, my church, this Church of the Risen Lord, would like to invite you
Wow.
to share your videographies.
Oh yes, yes.
Yes. And we are trying to find a way by which we can make our worship more meaningful, especially to millennials.
Yeah, yeah.
And how to make, in other words, creative worship.
Yeah.
Maybe we have not attracted many people to the church because it has remained traditional. But if we
Meaning you want to bring multimedia into the worship.
multimedia,
Yeah, yeah.
song, music, and sharing,
snippets of
Snippet-
miracles sharing.
sharing, and innovative
Yes,
methodologies as
Yeah.
well as thoughts. And maybe this is what would also make millennials. Many millennials have shunned the more traditional
Yeah,
worship
yeah.
because of their orientation.
Yeah.
They're multimedia oriented.
Yeah.
They have a different language, and we have to speak to them. And normally, the single medium oriented. I know I write for the print medium, but I know that if I want to communicate more, I have to move into multimedia because
Yeah.
and to the language of the millennials.
Yeah, I remember basic Muscom rule. The greater the number of channels used, the higher the probability of the message being received and understood as you designed it to be.
Yes.
Anyway, Flor, your parting words with our viewers on YouTube, on social media, Facebook, and of course on Sky Cable, our local TV channel. What is it, Flor?
Well, as I said, what I said earlier, that when confused, look inward and upward, and don't take yourself seriously. Just leave it to God. Thank you.
Thank you, Flor. This is the most treasured moment for me because it is hard to catch you and for you to give me this 55 minutes or so. But God bless you, and may He grant you longer years to serve our people and to give such an extraordinary model for others to follow.
Thank you, Bolet, for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Okay. And folks, thank you for being with us. We'll see you again next week here in City Talk, City Walk. God bless you.